Is Elden Ring worth trying at level 1? Not really, at least in my opinion. I think most of the fun with Elden Ring and other FromSoft games in general is the variety, all the different types of weapons and spells that you can use throughout the game. I can now say that after completing my level 1 run in Elden Ring, that it is much more fun if you do not do this. I would really only recommend it if you've already done a run like this in the past with previous games like Dark Souls, or you just wanted to challenge yourself like I did. As much fun as it is to feel some good old-fashioned pride and accomplishment from completing the run, I would much rather experiment with the weapon and spell sandbox or wear some cool armor combinations. While these games are designed to be difficult and challenge the players, it is still clearly shown through gameplay and mechanics that leveling up is an integral part of the experience, and the game is not intended for you to play it that way, which, as a consequence of that, means sacrificing the best elements of the game for the sake of the challenge. So naturally, like any masochist, I wanted to try Elden Ring at level 1 without using any summons or spirit ashes to form my own opinion on the subject, which led to this video. I had completed previous runs like this on other games like Dark Souls, but I hadn't done Elden Ring yet. Since I recently completed the DLC for the first time with my girlfriend, shameless self-promotion here, and had now seen everything Elden Ring had to offer, I was ready to take on this challenge. And, well, this challenge made me want to unalive myself. Even though I had beaten Elden Ring numerous times, most of the builds I used usually allowed me to beat the bosses pretty quickly, and that meant that I wasn't super familiar with a majority of their movesets outside of a few moves that are ingrained in my head from how many times bosses uses them. Which meant for most bosses, I would essentially be trying over and over again just to learn their movesets and be able to beat them at level 1. Most of the time I could just take the hit, heal, and move on, or defeat the boss so fast they don't get a chance to even use whatever move I'm not familiar with. However, I wouldn't have those luxuries anymore. Now it was all or bust. One hit and I'm done 95% of the time, probably more than that. Not to mention every boss fight now lasted much longer, due to my limited weapon and spell selection, combined with my much lower damage since I didn't really get any scalings. So for my run, I wanted to make sure my character was someone that could stand up to the challenge. Someone who would be believable in their journey to complete Elden Ring at level 1. So naturally, I went with Dio. Then I got my Honda Accord.
Offer you an accord.
Destroyed some furniture like Dio would. The white mask guy was definitely not aware of who he was talking to here.
You are maidenless.
Here's my obligatory running around getting a bunch of items stuff. I picked up the strength tier and the physic, so I figured the Bloodhound sword might be a good option, and I went to get it. Unfortunately, I didn't have the stats for it, nor could I get the stats without talismans anytime soon, so it would have to wait a while. I went to help Alexander, and afterwards I realized I probably should have unalived him for the worst version of the talisman he gives you, that way I wouldn't have to wait all game for it. I cheesed this Knight Cavalry for Bloodhound Step, went to Fort Gale for the strength talisman. Don't worry, I still got it. I wanted to focus my build around the Ash of War Ice Spear since I felt it could be a good tool for keeping distance and applying frostbite. I had to defeat this Knight Cavalry in Liurnia to get it, however, and with my current setup, I just wasn't good enough at dodging his movesets yet for me to defeat him with how low my damage was. So I went to get the Ice Hatchet and used its frost damage to defeat the Knight and get the Ash of War, also after many attempts learning his moveset. I also went to get the Dex tier. Then I slapped the Ash of War on the basic spear I had bought. Now that I had a decent weapon, I went to go try it out in some open world bosses like this tree avatar. I then went to get the bell bearing for early smithing stones so I could upgrade the spear a bit more. I also got poison mist for later. I then got Reduvia as I felt a bleed weapon would come in handy and its requirements were pretty low. I then upgraded my spear to +8. I got the Golden Vow Ash of War as I wouldn't be able to cast the spell for a while. I went to get some runes by defeating this watchdog, talk to Patches.
Wait, please.
Then I remembered that the Great Spear you get from Rykard's fight has no requirements and is used for a lot of low level runs, not to mention a Somber 7 is close by, so I went to get those. Unfortunately, I had to get past the Godskid Noble. I didn't really know this guy's moveset, since I usually defeat him pretty quickly. I'm not going to show all the fail attempts here, but just know that it took me about 2 hours of in-game time to finally get his moveset down and defeat him. I switched my strat from the Ice Spear to Reduvia for him as well, since the FP cost was lower than Ice Spear and it was faster. Eventually I got him and could get and upgrade the Great Spear. I went to grab the Bell Bearing for smithing stones as well, then took out the boss of the dungeon for some runes. I upgraded the spear to +15 by farming the smithing stone 5s from these mine worker guys. I took out the mini boss Margit, even though I hadn't fought regular Margit yet. Then I did fight regular Margit, and our damage was pretty good at this point, so Margit went down pretty fast.
Alrighty, Brisbane. Oh yeah. That's some good damage right there. that was easy.
Next was Godric, who suffered the same fate as Margit, unfortunately.
Not quite close. Oh my god. The damage. Alright, gonna do it again. Oh, nice stagger. Oh, wow. I almost denied him phase 2. Oh my god, what an easy fucking fight, holy shit.
I got Godric's Great Rune since it would come in handy for giving me some extra stats if I needed it. Next was the Red Wolf, and I thought he was going to be kind of hard because of how agile he was, but ultimately he went down pretty fast and I got him on my first try.
Damage is good. Oh, there goes our free hit. Then punish that. And he's dead.
So far I wasn't having much trouble with these bosses, but these were still early game bosses, and we hadn't gotten to the late game ones yet. Next was Renala, and her first phase was pretty easy, but her second phase, she was pretty relentless, and she didn't give me many opportunities to attack her back after her constant spell spam. After about 20 minutes of attempting, I got her, though most of that was spent running back and doing phase 1 again.
One phaser? No, almost one phaser. Where's the other guy? Where's the other one? Okay. Come on down. Olive Garden. There you go.
We're actually just gonna R1 scan here. Fuck. Oh. Okay. I'll raid as much wolves. Alright, y'all need to leave the fight, please. Oh god, that hurt. Oh, nice, we bled her out of it. That was good. Ooh. Oh, shit. Come on. Go away, please. She seems to be more passive when the summon's out, which is nice. Ah, oh shit. Okay, you can go away now, guys, please.
Please, she's almost dead.
Oh my god, dude, can I get an opening? Can I get an opening? Oh my god, dude. Die, please. Thank you. Whew. Thank God. We did it. That second phase, man, she does not really give you a lot of openings.
I then cheesed the Draconic Tree Sentinel by using the Poison Mist spell I got earlier on him. I knew most of his moveset already, so I wasn't too concerned about fighting him legitimately, so I just cheesed him here and would fight him legitimately at Malekith. I defeated the Tree Avatar as well. I used the same Poison Cheese strat on Commander O'Neill, although I got pretty bored towards the end because of how long it was taking, so I just finished him off with the Ice Spear. I took him out so that I could get the Dex Talisman, and with that I could now use Bloodhound's Fang, which is pretty nice. I got the Coverboy armor. I got the Starfist as well, which I think was going to be my main weapon for the run and going forward. Next was Goldfree, and he took about a half hour of attempts, but I got him down somewhat easily at the end.
You gonna do it this time? Of course. So wildly inconsistent, dude. He has so many, like, chains that he can just cancel at any time. It's hard to know when I can attack. Oh, I got lucky. Again. Nice. Force the staggered when I had no FP though. Alright, cool. That one wasn't really learning him as much as it was kind of playing it really safe.
Next, I upgraded my Starfist so I could actually start using them. I then went to gather some elemental damage tiers from this Erd Tree avatar. I also took out Radon, which was a bit of a nightmare. I made an exception to the no summoning rule for this fight, as I feel it's a lot more fun and designed for you to summon the Phantoms. Not to mention the Phantoms are pretty worthless anyways, and most of the time they usually get defeated pretty early on, or if they do live on, they don't do very much damage. So most of the damage was done by me. I'd say probably like 95% of it, and it really wasn't changing the fight all that much from when I tried it by myself, so I let it slide. I then unalived myself. I fought this Magma Worm for Alexander's quest. I got Misericord in case I wanted to try parrying later on. Took out Loretta to start Ronnie's quest. I also took out this Apostle for Millicent's quest, and this Knight's Cab just for the runes. Then I got the Magic Scorpion Charm from Sylvis. I got the Opaline Hardtear in case it might be helpful later on, and I also got the Spellblade set. I don't think the Hardtear would have been too useful since I think in most cases I'm just going to get one shot from this point on, so there's really no point in having extra defenses. The next big milestone was Morgott. I tried pairing him and using the Starfist as well as Misericord, but he was just giving me a lot of trouble and I was having trouble with the parry timing, so I went ahead and grabbed Terra Magica and then went all out on the Ice Spear strat. I also got his Shackle. It ended up being the best choice as we took him out really fast by just shackling him and then going all in with the Ice Spear attack while we're inside Terra Magica and having all of our buffs. So he was actually ridiculously easy. I took out this Falling Star Beast for the Smithing Stone Bell Bearing. Also took out Elmer's Glue here for the Mariah's Execution Sword, even though I probably wasn't going to use it. We then moved on to the Fire Giant, which was pretty awful. Ice Spear wasn't going to be super helpful here, so we went with the Starfist again. It also took about a half hour before I found a good strat to reliably get him into Phase 2. I also switched my Ash of War on the Starfist over to Cragblade to help with the damage and with stagger potential. Then it took about another hour before I was able to defeat him in Phase 2. Needless to say, Fire Giant was a pain, but I had also shown that my current build was good enough to take me to the end of the game. I did want to switch up my build a bit later on just for variety's sake, since I didn't want it to just be another Starfist run, but we'll see what happens.
What? I dodged what? Okay. I fucking... What?
Yo. This is specifically hard because I'm doing this at level 1, which means that I have not leveled up the entire game, and this is an endgame boss. This is one of the endgame bosses, and I have not leveled up once yet. So that is partially the reason why this is hard, and also partially the reason why I am getting killed in one hit, and my damage is not as high as it could have been. This is still pretty good damage though, I'm not gonna lie. This is pretty good damage. For most Fire Giant runs, this is not bad damage, but it could be a lot better if I was actually leveled instead of level 1. Okay, really, dude? Oh my god. Dagger, please. Or not. Calm down. Oh, wow. Bully his head, since I can't get to his eye. I was not expecting the stance work in there, okay. You get the frost proc? Oh, there's the frost block. Okay. Very close here. Don't know what he's doing. Get rid of that. Oh, please.
Oh, what the fuck?
Come on, we just need a little bit.
Ooh.
Come on.
Ooh.
Okay. Might be able to get the hits in here.
No! Fuck! No! Oh, I dodged it. Let's go. Oh, finally. Fuck you, Fire Giant. Holy shit.
Anyways, next up, we grab the secret medallion for Melania, and after Fire Giant, we can now access Farum Azula, which meant that we had to fight Commander Nile, which usually gives me a hard time in all of my other runs, but for whatever reason, I locked in and was able to defeat him extremely easily and hitless on my second attempt, which I didn't even think I could do.
Chill now. Ugh. Okay. Ugh. So you gonna do his thing? Oh great, he already phase transitioned. Come on. Give me an opening. That works. Jig back. Oh, take that attack. safe. And GG. That was the cleanest Nile fight I've ever had, I think.
With that, we had the medallion and could now go to the consecrated snowfields and access Melania's area. We decided to go to Farum Azula first to get the bell bearings to nearly max out our weapons. So we burned the Erd Tree, got to Farum Azula, and next up was the Foreskin Duo. I made some sleep pots, and after a few attempts of failing to get the sleep pots off without them unaliving me, or without only getting one of them instead of both of them, we finally had a good run where I got them both with the sleep pot and they both went to sleep. And from there, it was pretty easy to just buff up and take them out with a bunch of stance breaks.
This. Blue. Alright. 1, 2, 3. Are you serious? Alright. 1. Oh, hell yeah. I was hoping you did that. There's a lot of lore, yeah. Take as much damage as we can. Blue. I'll do the same thing with you. 1, 2, dagger. Oh, it didn't really come out. Alright. Did you just bring your gay boyfriend back? Oh, you did. Ow. Okay. Wanna do a black flame? Oh yeah. Don't summon your boyfriend. Jump? Oh yeah. And there we go. Make sure we get the damage. Didn't even need all that.
We took out Alexander for his talisman, rest in peace.
No, Alexander! It's the
I then went to take out Rykard, which honestly was one of the worst bosses in terms of attempts so far. It made absolutely no sense to me as to why he was being so difficult. Anyways though, after many attempts, we finally took out the serpent.
What? Oh my god. Fuck.
Jesus.
I wanted to go to Moog next so that way we could get access to the DLC, as I wanted to try and get Raylana's cameo for the Unsheath Ash of War, as it would increase its damage by I believe 40%, which is pretty nice. But Moog reminded me that I was still level 1 and I needed to play very carefully.
Oh my god. Just kill him, please. Give me the...
Ah, fuck. Another one.
I found out that Moog could be sort of cheesed in that with the right charged R2 build and his shackle, you could defeat Moog before he enters phase 2 and prevent the Nihil altogether. So I tried the strat, which involved using the Serpent Spear from Rykard, and while I got close, I lacked just a bit more damage since I hadn't maxed the spear out and it was only plus 9, so I think if it was plus 10 I probably could have done it, but instead I decided to go with my Starfist build with Cragblade and all my buffs, which proved to be worth it as the extra bleed effect from the Starfist was just enough to let me defeat Moog before he got to the Nihil.
Gonna do that. Gonna do the second one. Oh shit, no, I wasn't supposed to do that.
Alright. There's one. There's two. There we go. Okay, I literally did that perfectly and I just didn't have enough damage. Was there someone in there? Oh yeah, it says he banned somebody. What the hell? I didn't even see anybody in here. Long range pot. Long range pot. Fuck, you gotta be kidding me. There's one. Alright, I need you to please get staggered. Thank you. That and let's go. We did it. Let's go. I got it. He didn't even get the knee heal off.
Now that that's done, I headed to the DLC and collected as many of the Scatty Tree fragments as I could and remembered, and I unlocked the majority of the DLC map. I also defeated the Dragon Man to get access to the Jagged Peak. That way I could come and just kind of blitz down the last DLC bosses once I was finished. I wanted to have a high blessing level before I fought really any DLC boss, so I stopped at around blessing level 11 and planned on fighting the Golden Hippo in the Dark Fortress, that way I could get his blessings, as well as Commander Gaius to get the 5 blessings behind him. Then I went back to the base game and I tried Malekith, as I wanted to try and finish the base game before I did anything in the DLC. I got very close to beating Malekith on one of my first attempts, but I misplayed and he had just a little amount of health left. At least I know that it won't take very long to take him out though.
At level 1. Sekiro guy's ultimate. Yeah, 11 should be decent to fight him. Oh, I was kind of lucky there. Oh, yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, I could have got in there. Fuck, that was so close.
We then came back next stream and beat Malekith on our first attempt, which was pretty nice.
Alright, do... That works. That works too. One more. Whoa. Okay. Woo. Woo. Oh, how did that miss? Come on. Damn. I haven't fought Malekith in a minute and I am dodging everything right now. Can I get one, please? Oh, that's it right there. Easy.
With that, we now had access to the last few bosses of the base game, including Gideon and Godfrey, who were next. I thought Gideon would be pretty tough, but ultimately Unsheath on the Katana was my crutch Ashavor for pretty much any NPC fight, so NPCs were never an issue with this weapon. So Gideon went down on the first try, and he went down rather easily.
stand before the end.
I commend your spirit, little lass. She'll take the throne.
Alright. Uh-oh. Alright. Oh shit. Ugh. Oh god. Was he doing right guards thing? Let's go. That was actually really easy. I was expecting that to be a lot harder.
From this point on, pretty much every boss was taking many attempts, like roughly 50 per boss, or at least for the next few. I'll point out which ones do and don't. Godfrey definitely topped right guard here for the most attempts so far, as I didn't really know his moveset all that well. So I'll leave you here with pretty much all the attempts it took. I switched builds probably around 4 times, starting with the katana, to getting the Wing of Estil and building around that, the Starfist, and ultimately settled on the Ice Spear, which we were finally able to get him with. So here's every attempt. I probably won't do another compilation like this just because it's too time consuming and takes too long, but I might do another one in case there's a special case up ahead in the DLC.
Hey, I don't... I fucked up. Fuck, I... Dead. Ooh. Dead. Come on, dead. Come on. Oh, God. Who's it? This sword? Yeah. Maya's Executioner or Regalia Yokai? I just... Is it the big one or the small one? Okay. Oh, I used to use the big one, but I wanted to use the small one. Yeah, that just rates for me. Yeah, we are getting him into phase 2 a lot more consistently. I missed it. Ooh. Ooh. Oh my god. Let's go! Fuck you. You fuck. Fuck you. Jesus Christ.
With Godfrey finally down, we headed to Melania, which meant Loretta was next, and it was actually pretty nice since Loretta only went down in 2 attempts.
Ooh. 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 Ooh, Loretta. Ooh. Ooh. I thought he was using intelligence. Oh, Loretta. Fuck. Oh, I dodged it. How the fuck? You stop hopping around. What are you doing? Actually, no, actually, there's gonna be times in PvP though. Not in the whole game. Oh, great. Ooh. Just need time for one. Woo! Shit. Goodbye. Fuck you, little.
We now had access to Melania, which I gave an attempt just for giggles, and it went absolutely horribly. So, in order to avoid that battle for a while, we went to the DLC, and we took out the Solitude Knight. We got Millicent's Prosthesis, as well as the consecutive attack tier for a different build I was trying to put together that I don't know if I'm ultimately going to use or not, since it was doing pretty mid. We got the Iron Balls from Bogart for Radabeast later on. Then I tried the Golden Hippo, and this boss was similar to Godfrey in that it took about 2 hours and many attempts of me trying different builds, but ultimately I settled with the Wing of Estelle, and it ended up carrying me all the way through the boss fight rather quickly. I won't show the compilation here, but it was very similar to Godfrey, and I'll show you just a few attempts so you can see my pain. But just know, I was actually fuming at one point that I had to take a break and go fight Melania, and that went even worse. So I ended up just going back to the Hippo.
What the fuck?
Hate when you open up like that. 1, 2, there's gonna be 3, there's gonna be 4. It's gonna be hyper aggressive. Oh my god, we got him. Holy shit. Fuck you, Hippo. Just had to be hyper aggressive, I guess. Oh my god. Fuck that Hippo.
After the Hippo, we got the Rakshasa set for some little extra damage, and we got the Graces for a few DLC bosses like the Scattertree Avatar, Gaius, Mesmer, and Romina.
I don't think that's enough to get us to the next.
Oh no, this is the scattered tree. Okay, fuck. We did go the wrong way.
I then attempted Melania for 2 hours, and I didn't even get her into phase 2. So we decided to try Radabeast instead, and we almost got it on our first try, and we almost did it multiple times, but ultimately we have to try again in another stream. Then we practiced Melania for a few days until I had learned pretty much all of her moveset, and I had also discovered a new cheesy strat in order to beat her. Using a greatsword, which I chose the Flamberge, which I'll explain later, and a charged heavy build, using the Ash of War Giant's Hunt to initially stun her into a true combo that lets us hit her with a charged heavy followed by a normal heavy in order to stance break her and riposte her. Doing so would allow us to then repeat the combo while she recovers from her stance break and allows us to true combo her for her entire health bar in phase 1. In phase 2, things change a bit where she could now waterfowl or use a kick move to get out of the combo whenever she was knocked down, as those moves gave her hyper armor. So all we needed was some good RNG where she just didn't use those moves and we could take her down. The reason I chose the Flamberge greatsword here is because it comes with innate bleed, and by infusing it with frost meant that I could take her down even faster using those two status effects. I'd also learned how to dodge waterfowl, but only from a medium to a long distance range, as I struggled a lot when she would do it right up in my face. There was a few times I was able to dodge it, but most of the time, if she did it right in front of my face, it usually meant just restarting the run.
Final fucking holy shit. Fuck you, Melania.
Next, we went back to Radabeast, where my method I had developed for Radagon had rendered him pretty easy, as I could just stance break him, take out half his health, then stance break him again after he phase changes, and finish him off before he even does his final phase change attacks. It was very predictable, it worked every time, and I had a reliable build with it, so Radagon wasn't really an issue. Elden Beast, however, was one of the worst bosses in terms of attempts so far, mainly because of his Elden Stars and his projectile sword attacks, as they kept forcing me to fight Radagon over and over again just to be able to try him. I came up with a new strategy to use my Iron Ball method that I developed for Radagon, but as I defeat him, switch to a Wing of Estelle build for Elden Beast, as the free projectiles I got on the R2s, as well as the Ash of War, made breaking Elden Beast's stance just a little bit easier, especially when he would run away, as the projectiles would give me more range to break his stance. And eventually, after many tries, we were able to get him.
Booty dust. Booty dust. Let's go. Okay. Got time for one more. Seven stars. To the opposite side of the map. Oh, never mind. It's gonna immediately zigzag at me at supersonic. What the fuck? Why is it going so fast? Oh, holy shit, that Elden Stars was ridiculous. It was on my ass the whole time. Gonna go right here for more room. And doing that shit yet again. Gonna go left. There. Oh, fuck you, asshole. Just like, oh, that one, okay. Ooh. Oh! Oh! Fuck you. Holy shit. We did.
Next, I went into the DLC to start taking down some of the bosses there. I wanted to try and cheese as many as I could for my own sanity, so we started with Gaius, who I knew could be cheesed and awarded 5 blessings. So we ended up running him into the side of the map, getting him stuck on a pillar, and then got around the pillar so he couldn't attack us, and used Moog Spear to attack him through the wall. I did have to be a little bit careful when he would change into phase 2 and roll away, but we eventually got him. I also had to use some rune arcs here just to wield Moog Spear, as I didn't have enough stats normally and with my talismans and everything, so I had to make the attempts count. Once we got him, we were able to get the blessings and got our blessing level up to 17, which meant we were pretty much almost maxed out at this point, as the difference between blessing level 19 and 20 is very minimal, and most of the time it's not even really worth it.
Oh, I staggered him. I heard that shit. He's gonna phase you.
What was that? Oh! What the fuck is he doing? What the fuck? Chill out, boar man. What the fuck? Where is he?
There we go. Alright, we got him.
You guys.
Next was Bale, who could also be cheesed. We could use Assassin's Gambit in Unseen Form to sneak into the arena, then we would run all the way around the arena to get behind him and get close to him, where we could use Poison Mist to constantly poison him over and over again. This didn't do a ton of damage and it took a lot of castings, and poison doesn't work very fast, so this ended up taking about half an hour just to defeat him this way. But I mean, hey, it works. I also technically never got unalived by him using this method, so I guess I did this deathless. I would also be using this similar strat to do other bosses like Romina, for example. We then went to Romina, where we tried to get this parkour cheese to work. I got into the spot multiple times, but somehow Romina kept finding a way to hit us out. I'm not sure if it was her phase change or something, or she just got lucky, but she would find a way to hit us. I also tried multiple different pots for the distraction part of the cheese, like fire pots or freeze pots, but sleep pots seemed to be the only thing that actually got Romina to move. And I was actually running out of sleep pots, and I didn't really have a reliable way to make more of them or to farm them, so instead, I decided to go to the Putrescent Knights so I could get access to St. Trina, and my hope here was to try and farm Eternal Sleep Pots, which I don't think I actually needed to do any of this for, but it worked out as I needed to defeat him anyways, so just made it speed up the process. I had an idea here to use the Blasphemous Blade since I believe he's weak to fire, but I would need to use Rune Arcs once again in order to meet the requirements, which I really didn't want to do as I had a very limited amount of them. So instead, we opted to get as much of the requirements as possible. So we got the Ruler's Mask for the extra faith. I think it's only one though, so that kind of sucked. We got Marika's Source Seal, which was a pain and a half to get, but we just used the Unseen Form and Assassin's Gambit trick to sneak past all the Revenants, and also some quit outs as they found me regardless. With the right setup, we could use the Blasphemous Blade and also the Moke Spear now, thanks to Marika's Source Seal, and we didn't have to use any Rune Arcs, which was nice, as we could have as many attempts with these weapons as we wanted now. So after quite a few attempts, we took down the Putrescent Knight using the Blasphemous Blade, and it was really annoying to learn some of his moveset here, but ultimately, he doesn't really have too many moves that he does, so it wasn't that bad.
Nice. Gonna do this. Whatever. This. Damn. Die, please. Whatever, he died. Give it to me, please. Give it to me, thank you.
From there, we farmed the Eternal Sleep Pot ingredients, like the Deep Lilies, which we just ran along the coast for, and the White Flesh Mushrooms, which we got this Bell Bearing in order to buy an infinite amount of them, and I used the runes I got from the Putrescent Knight to buy a ton of them so we could make a good amount of sleep pots. Once we had enough sleep pots, we attempted the Romina cheese once again. Since we could make as many sleep pots as we wanted now, we just had to make sure that Romina would actually go after them and that it wasn't just the normal sleep pots. And after checking, she would. So after a few more tries at the cheese, we got it, and bye-bye Romina.
Are you kidding me? Thank God.
Oh, great. I'm not gonna get it now. God, she keeps flying around. Oh, there we go. Let's go.
Next, I went to the Dancing Lion, as he was also weak to fire, so we wanted to try and use the same setup as the Putrescent Knight here. It took about an hour or so to learn his moveset and his AI tendencies enough to beat him, but I was really happy when we did get him down. He was very annoying in that because of how big he was and how fast his attacks were, it was just kind of hard to tell what he was doing and when he was doing it. Eventually, after seeing it enough times, I got to learn it, but it was just really annoying having to see this giant blob do one thing over and over again just to find out what he's doing. Not to mention when he would corner me or get me up against a wall, the camera would freak out and I would not be able to tell what is going on and therefore wouldn't know when to dodge, how to dodge, or what attack he was doing. So essentially, if he put me too close to a wall, it was game over. I was also starting to get a bit worried here as I only had about 2 more bosses I think I could cheese, or at least I'm pretty sure. That being Consort Radon later in the run and Scatty Tree Avatar with the Moog Spear also later on. But I had no strategy or cheese for Mesmer, Miter, Midra, or Raylana. And as far as I know, there isn't really a good cheese at level 1. So I was going to try and play it safe by using a crossbow and using that distance, but I would have to see how things go. I was going to try and use bleed bolts, that way we could bleed them out from a distance, but Raylana I know can be quite the rushdown boss, so I'm not sure how well that's going to work. Same thing with Midra. Miter might have a better chance just because of how slow they are. Mesmer though, I think I was just going to have a situation that was similar to the Dancing Lion in that I would just have to get good enough at his moveset and learn him well enough to beat him.
Can you do something I can actually work with here? Thank you. Okay, you have to just outrun it. Makes no sense. Thank fuck. Fuck you. Holy shit. That took way longer than I wanted it to.
We also went to Midra, where we had to fight Jory in order to reach the Abyssal Woods. And this guy was probably one of the most annoying bosses to fight so far, just because of his constant spell spam and running away whenever you would get close, combined with the fact that he summons all kinds of different enemies in the boss arena to fight for him, and pretty much all of them have the ability to one-shot us, including the boss. And some of the summons, like the big guy for example, stays around for a lot longer than you would think. I feel like he would go away after his initial attack or after staying around for a bit, but there was a lot of times where he'd stay around for upwards of 30 seconds to a minute, or at least that's what it felt like. My strategy here was initially to use Moog Spear, that way we could hit him from a distance and also be able to sort of cheese him, but we wanted to hide behind the tombstones as the tombstones would take most of the spells so that we could safely attack from behind them, and then use Moog Spear to stay behind those stones and attack him with the Ash of War. I thought about switching to Blasphemous Blade, but this strategy was working so well. I got him close to being defeated a lot of times using this strategy, so I figured I'd just keep with it since it was working. Unfortunately, there was no grace, so I couldn't really switch up what was in my physic or any of my Ashes of War, like my dagger from Bloodhound Step or Assassin's Gambit or Golden Vow or anything like that, so that really sucked since I was kind of stuck with a bunch of stuff that wasn't helpful while trying to use Moog Spear. It also took about an hour before I got him down, although like I said, we were very close to getting him many times, and it was mostly just because of his stupid summons and his spell where he attacks you from wherever you're at. It doesn't matter if you're hiding or anything, it just always is going to track you. And though one of those two would usually just clip us right before we would get him. Eventually though, we finally had a good run and we were able to take him down, and I absolutely hate this guy and I never want to fight him again. Next was Raylana, and she gave us a lot of trouble. Probably about 3.5 hours worth of attempts. We tried quite a few different strategies on her, ranging from poison arrows and bleed bolts to stay away from her, the Ant Spur Rapier so we could get Scarlet Rot and poison on her, but ultimately we just went with bleed on the Iron Ball with a charged heavy build. Poison and Rot strat was nice, and it built up my knowledge for dodging most of her attacks, but it was very slow and it was unreliable in Phase 2. With the Iron Balls and my knowledge of her moveset, we managed to make it work by stance breaking her and getting some bleed procs off. I also got a bit lucky as Raylana, for whatever reason, once I had gotten her down to about 40% health, I just continued to hit her, and she chose not to phase change, and she instead changed way too late and allowed me to hit her even more multiple times, and When she actually did phase change, I managed to break her stance because she had allowed me to hit her more than usual, which got me the win.
Final fucking lead. Fuck you, Raylana. Oh my god. Holy shit. That took so long.
The Skytree Avatar was next, and was one of the last bosses that we could actually cheese in the DLC, and it only took a couple of attempts, but ultimately we got into the cheese spot and we used Milk Spear to take him down. Funny enough, I think after the initial phase with the Avatar, he spawned underground, which just immediately defeated him, and he ended up doing the same thing in phase 3, which just ended the fight. So that was pretty nice, especially after Raylana, as this only took a couple tries.
You need to get closer. There we go. Okay, that's the first one. Second one's gonna come. What the hell? What happened? Why did he die? What the hell? Oh, what the? What? What? Did he spawn under the map and kill himself?
Next was Mesmer, who I was dreading, and I felt like he was probably going to be the hardest boss for us in this DLC. However, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. He actually was easier for me than Raylana, which was kind of crazy. He still took about an hour or so of attempts, but I got him much faster than I thought. I was expecting to take maybe 5 or more hours on him, but I was actually really happy with myself here, as we had found a nice strategy to stance break him in phase 1 after his initial attack, and then do the same in phase 2 to leave him with only about 8 or so % health, and I actually got lucky with the attempt and didn't even need it.
Ooh, perfect, thank you. Nice, let's go! Holy shit, we did it.
We then headed to Enter Elam for my last blessing level I wanted to get, which was level 18, as I wasn't really worried about 19 and 20, as there wasn't a huge difference from 18 to 20 or anything like that, so I just left it at that, and if I had gotten any more blessings to get to 19, then that would be nice, but not necessary. So we just had the final 3 left, which was Medr, Midra, or Midra, not entirely sure, and Radon.
Next was Miter, who was actually very easy, and we ended up beating it first try. I just used the crossbow method with the bleed bolts, since I had been trying to use that on some other bosses that didn't work, like Midra and Raylana. But thankfully Miter was so big and slow that we could really abuse the distance and the size of the arena to just kind of hang back and use the crossbow to shoot at her from a distance. So it was definitely one of the easiest fights, especially since we were able to do it in just our very first attempt. So this might actually be the easiest fight in the entire video, or at least tied for the easiest fight in this entire video. So the biggest roadblock here was just the patience and time that it took to take her down this way, as it did take a minute, especially trying to just proc bleed over and over again, but it wasn't too bad.
Shit. I got locked onto the big... Stop locking onto the fucking little guys, please. Alright, first try. That was actually really easy. That was very easy.
I then took down Ymir really quick using the Blasphemous Blade. Next we went to Midra with a new strategy, which was just the old strategy. So we used a charged R2 build with the Starfists and Cragblade. and we were able to break his stance actually pretty easily. I think it took about 2 charged R2s and a regular R2 just to break his stance. So we just relied on this to keep continually breaking his stance. Thanks to the previous attempts that I had used the crossbow, I now knew a good portion of his moveset, so we got him in only 2 attempts using this method. I wasn't expecting this at all, and I was actually very happy that we finally took him down. And with that, we only had the Letta gank fight and Radahn left.
Nice.
Woo!
So that just stance break him. Oh, this is actually looking really good. What the fuck? Oh wow. What the fuck? All I needed to do was switch to a charged heavy build and we fucking kicked his ass. Holy shit, that's all it took.
The Letta gank fight was made about 10 times harder because I actually did Ansbach and Theolier's questline, and I actually wanted to fight more. So I ended up having to fight Hornsent, Freya, Dane, Letta, and more. While I had Ansbach and Theolier to help me, Theolier was borderline useless outside of just being a punching bag and occasionally proccing poison. I experimented with a lot of different strategies, such as the Wild Strikes, Ashavor, Unsheath, Giant's Hunt, and the Smith's Grip Spear, as well as various affinities for those Ashes of War and weapons. Eventually I found that I had the best performance with the Sword Lance and Giant's Hunt with the Frost affinity. This took about the same amount of tries as Godfrey, or maybe even more, I'm not entirely sure. It was about 3.5 hours to 4 hours of just trying this over and over again. It was mostly my fault, like I said, as I could have set this up to be easier by helping Hornsent or just not doing any quest lines and having it just be Letta and Dane at the end of this. Ultimately though, I was really proud that I was able to beat this fight while it being one of the most difficult scenarios possible. So the Letta 5v2.5 was finally over, thank God, as this was probably top 3 hardest fights for me at level 1.
Oh shit. Nice. Alright, more is there.
This battle
Oh, he's
will
gonna
not be
throw a
more fitting for the birth of a new god and the coming
And
of the
Dane is
Lord.
here. Dude, what the fuck? More didn't even get to us before Dane spawned. What the fuck? Give me a chanting. Oh, cool, we got Dane. Thank fuck. Okay, we got Letta. Let's go. Oh my god. Well, that was definitely worse than Godfrey. Holy fuck. Yeah, I think any NPC at level 1 is horrible. Yeah, I was looking up like suggestions for strategies and most people were saying just don't do it.
Now was the easy part, Console Radahn, which I never thought I'd be saying. Just needed the right setup and execution, but once I had gathered all the materials and crafting and had everything in place, we got him on our first attempt using this tree strat. The strat was rather easy, as we would just use the invisible strat from earlier by using Assassin's Gambit and Unseen Form to get inside the arena, wait for him to turn around, then we run along the sidewall to the other side of the arena. We get into position, we throw up 2 poison pots and 1 rot pot to get Radahn rotted and poisoned up. Then we just use the Mimic Veil and wait for phase 2. Once phase 2 starts, we just wait until he turns around, and then he does his big circle attack where we run out of it, and then he gets stuck. He was supposed to fall out of the map once he gets stuck, where we just kind of try to wiggle him while he's aggroed on us, but for some reason he didn't, and he just stood there, so I had to use Poison Mist to finish him off, which took a very long time, very similar to Bale. But after a while, we had done it, and Radahn was down, which also marked the end of the run. This run was interesting to say the least. I'd say 90% of the run is actually not that bad, or it's even really easy, as with all the tools that the game gives you, you can take down most bosses as easily as if it was a normal playthrough, or even better than a normal playthrough. The other 10% was those 5 or 6 fights that are just a nightmare for level 1 characters, where you don't really have many options outside of just dying a bunch of times to memorize the boss's moveset to the point where you can just no-hit them easily. I would probably consider doing this for more Souls games, but I don't think I would do this run too often. I'm happy I tried this out, as it truly does feel like playing the game again for the first time, and it gives you that same sense of accomplishment knowing that you beat everything the game had to offer difficulty-wise, while severely limiting yourself at level 1. It's a fun and rewarding experience, but definitely a challenging one. So if you're on the fence about trying this, I'd say give it a shot, as you might find yourself having more fun than a regular playthrough by having to strategize more and think different than you usually would. If you're new to these games or just don't have a ton of experience yet, then I'd say maybe wait a bit or try a different challenge until you're ready to try this one.
And let's go. It's probably one of the easiest ones so far.
Anyways though, if you made it this far, thank you so much, and please let me know if you liked the video or not and how I can improve. If you like this video, I have a playlist with other Souls games, challenge runs, and playthroughs with my girlfriend if you're interested. With that, I hope you have a good rest of your day, night, evening, whatever time it is wherever you're watching this, and take it easy guys.